What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Super soldiers are the talk of the town following Falcon and Winter Soldier's exciting finale last week, but now we must ask ourselves, how many more super soldiers are coming to the MCU? How many more have there been in the comics? Well, the answer is quite a few, considering the title of this list. I'm Taylor McWatters, and that's right, we're back today with another part 2. So without further ado, you know why you're here, let's do it. Here are the top 10 most powerful super soldiers, part 2. Let's go. Kicking the list off at number 10, we have Anti-Cap. Now, his true name remains a mystery, but this Cap made his first comic book appearance in Captain America and the Falcon, issue 1. Now, this man tragically lost his girlfriend in the Oklahoma City bombings, so he needed something to focus on. So now he enlisted in the US Navy, but similar to Steve Rogers, he was rejected because he was unfit for the job. Physically. Now, while this was happening, the Navy was trying to recreate their own serum, of course, but this time it was in the form of a patch, an AVX patch. Same deal though, this would enhance the subject's strength and endurance significantly. Now, it wasn't working, so the project's commanding officer, Admiral James Westbrook, straight up tried to shoot the guy because it was a lost cause. But in doing so, this near-death experience kick-started all these fantastic abilities. So the Navy then deployed this new super soldier on a mission to Afghanistan, then he went to Syria, and then he went to Iraq. So he was working with the Navy, he was doing a decent job. So after years of these missions, he of course got caught up in S.H.I.E.L.D. business and tracked down Falcon back to America. Now these 14 issues are quite exciting, and at first, Cap actually thinks that this guy is his long-lost Bucky, the real Cap, Steve Rogers. And then when MODOK and AIM get into the picture, it gets absolutely wild. They stage Anti-Cap's death, then he helps them, then he goes against them. It's a ride, you gotta check it out. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be great. It's super helpful for our channel. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for watching. Let's hop right back into this list. Number 9, Flag Smashers. In Disney's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Flag Smashers are a rebel group, but in the comics, it's just one guy. Karl Morgenthau made his first comic book appearance in Captain America issue 312. Back in December 1985. He was the son of a wealthy Swiss banker who turned into a diplomat, and as a kid, Karl was never able to settle while he was moving around with his father. And over time, this naturally turned Karl into an introvert. So he was forced to grow stronger, mentally, spiritually, and physically. He had a lot of anger growing inside of him, so he turned that anger and energy into martial arts training at the age of 12. After his father lost his life in a riot outside of the Latvian embassy, he took all of his inheritance and put it towards this new future. He believed his father was too passive in the way he tried to obtain world peace. So he became a mace-wielding supervillain who rides on a flying cart. Because that's a good alternative. His name is Flag Smasher, so the first time we see him in action is when he heads over to the Acme Flag Company to do some property damage. But in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we meet a version of this character, Karli Morgenthau, and she's part of a group called Flag Smashers. This group is 8 individuals who survived the blip, and with the help of some stolen Super Soldier Serum, it made for a really entertaining 6 episodes. Karli was a great villain. She was young, hurt, and angry, and Sam Wilson almost got through to her a few times, before John Walker came in and messed it all up. Number 7, Destroyer. Kevin Marlowe made his first comic book appearance in Mystic Comics issue 6. He was an American journalist who had gotten inside Germany to investigate the horrors within, and sadly he was captured by Germans. Whilst inside, he crossed paths with Professor Erich Schmidt, this German scientist. Now, he gave Kevin a version of the serum that would later be responsible for Steve Rogers. So now Kevin obtained these enhanced abilities. Step 2, of course, was to break out, avenge Schmidt, and go on a punchy rampage. Now, of course, with a new look and a name to go along, the Destroyer, quite fitting, I'd say. Years down the road as an old man, this super soldier didn't want to turn back the clock and have one last dance with Peggy Carter. No. Instead, he was dedicated to taking out all of his enemies. I get the whole Destroyer alias now. That checks out. That makes sense. Number 6, Warhawk. Mitchell Tanner first entered Marvel Comics with Marvel Premiere issue 23. Now, we meet Mitchell when he was critically injured in the Vietnam War, so good guy Dr. Burstein used a variation of the Super Soldier Serum in attempts to save his life. Now, with most of these super soldiers, even in part 1, they all come out the same more or less. But Tanner's results with the serum made his skin turn into this granite-like substance. He of course has super strength, but his appearance was quite different. The stresses of seeing his home village in Vietnam being destroyed, plus the tragic end of his late wife Liu, he was mentally unstable, this poor guy. So now Warhawk, yes, we need a fancy new nickname of course, Warhawk became an assassin for the CIA and went on to fight Iron Fist. Then later he was sent to take out Atom Smasher, and then he was soon hired by the Hellfire Club to go toe-to-toe with the X-Men. Eventually this guy was handled. He traded in his skills and worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. in exchange for a reduced sentence. Not a bad deal. Number 5, Luke Cage. He made his first appearance in Hero for Hire issue 1. Mike Coulter did a fantastic job playing him in live action, and I really hope they don't recast him for future Marvel projects. Just bring him in. Kind of seems like he can already do the job. I don't know. So when he first entered comics, he was put in prison for a crime he did not commit. And he agreed to volunteer for this experimental treatment, of course, based off that original Super Soldier Serum. Dr. Noah Burstein recruited Luke for his cell regeneration experiment, the same guy responsible for Warhawk, who I just mentioned. So the doctor immersed Cage in this electrical field, and when he left Luke unattended for a hot minute, in comes Rackham trying to take out Cage. Now, he overloaded the machine, but instead this just made Cage stronger. So now he has unbreakable skin and exceptional strength. Way to go, Rackham. Good work. Number 4, Black Widow. Natalia Romanova first entered comics in Tales of Suspense issue 52. She was an enemy of Iron Man's at first, and she was this KGB assassin. Her training in the Red Room made her a fierce warrior already, skilled in martial arts, plus the fact that she's a skilled acrobat. Yeah, we have a pretty badass spy. Now, part of her Black Widow program was her receiving a variant of the Super Soldier Serum. Now, this gave her an improved immune system along with enhanced durability. Now, the serum is actually the reason Natalia barely ages in these stories, just like Scarlett Johansson. Maybe she got the serum as well. That would make sense. Her and Paul Rudd would definitely make sense. On top of these abilities, she comes equipped with a black bodysuit made of a Kevlar-like substance, and her wrists rock these 2 bracelets, and they fire off the Widow's Bite, which is a pleasant 30,000 bolts. Right to your neck. It's gotta feel good. So if these don't stop you dead in your tracks, those bracelets are also equipped with tear gas cartridges, and her belt contains these discs with firepower of 4 pounds of TNT. So you'd never want to cross paths with Black Widow, that's for sure. We're still eagerly awaiting her solo film because of delays with COVID, but I wonder if they're gonna throw in a variation of the serum in this origin story. I know it takes place a little bit in the past, of course, so I wonder if we'll see that. Number 3, Eli Bradley. Now, I mentioned in part 1 of this list a super soldier named Isaiah Bradley. He was a grounding, emotional addition to the MCU in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And in the show, when Sam Wilson would chat with Isaiah, we caught glimpses of his grandson. The young actor Elijah Richardson recently dropped a hint on his future with Marvel after the finale aired. Check it out. So it looks like we may truly be on our way to the Young Avengers, which is super exciting. We have Wiccan, Speed, Hawkeye, it's all coming together. It's great. Now, his first comic book appearance was in Young Avengers 1. Now, he wanted to follow in the path of his grandfather, so he suited up as Patriot. Only thing was, he had lied. He didn't actually have abilities. He had no powers at all, until he received a blood transfusion from his grandfather, Isaiah. That, combined with his skills in parkour and combat, makes for a worthy Young Avenger. That's for sure. I really hope we see him in live action soon. He's amazing. He uses a replica of Cap's original shield, and his suit is a combination of Bucky and Isaiah Bradley's Cap uniform. It's great. Number 2, Taskmaster. Anthony Masters, the villain in Black Widow that we're so excited to see after this long delay, made his comic book debut back in Avengers issue 195. Anthony Masters is a former SHIELD agent who turned into a mercenary and assassin. Now, his whole thing is he can replicate your physical skills. He has photographic reflexes. That's why in the trailer for Black Widow, we see him studying her fight moves on the screen. That's literally all it takes, and he's got it locked down. He became a teacher based out of the Taskmaster's Academy to train villains, henchmen, and he even trained US Agent how to use Cap's shield in the comics. Now, of course, after injecting himself with an experimental version of the Super Soldier Serum, all these abilities were just amplified. I can't wait to see this guy on the big screen. He's one of my favorite villains, and the combat that we're gonna get with this movie is gonna be so good. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Todd Ziller. Okay, this one is pretty wild. Okay, so Todd appeared for the first time in Avengers Volume 6. He was a US corporal and was the test subject for Project Troubleshooter. Again, another attempt to recreate Erskine's serum. So sometimes these things work, and sometimes you end up like this. Now, this serum was a hodgepodge of other transformative substances. So we combined gamma, mutant growth hormones, PIM particles, and the Connors formula. So yeah, we got more than we bargained for this time around. Todd turned into this giant reptile, hence the new alias, American Kaiju. And yes, he's as unstoppable as you would think. I mean, just look at him. Good luck. What, are you gonna throw a shield at him? You gonna taser him in the neck? No way. This guy's a monster. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Now, before you head out, feel free to drop us a comment or two. Let us know what you want to see in the near future, whether it's other super soldiers that you want to hear more about. Hell, tell us your favorite album that you're listening to right now. It doesn't matter. We just love hearing your feedback. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters. You've been you. Keep being you, and we'll see you next time on Top 10 Nerd. Peace. Super soldiers are the talk of the town following Falcon and the Winter Soldier's finale. Winter Soldiers.